Good evening, everyone, friends, foes, and dirty socks. Had a solar storm the other night. It was fairly brief, but pretty intense when it hit. Actually knocked our cable out for a brief time. You can see that if you go to the ISWA site. Had an interesting thought I wanted to share with you. Thought crossed my mind the other day. Actually came out of something Sam Harris said, of all things. In regards to religious faith and the acceptance of religious doctrine. It actually has to do with economics and the system that we currently have in place with only a very few alternatives at this point. Now, those of you that know me know my history and business and finance, so I'm not going to go through all of that. When you go to buy stocks, for example, there will be warnings and disclosures everywhere saying that there's a lot of you're taking a lot of chances, you are gambling, you're accepting that there are no guarantees in the stock market, because the stock market is really just buying into businesses, into publicly held corporations, and so you're buying into those risks that any business or enterprise like that is going to have. We're not going to even get into the supply and demand side of things, how that's manipulated, how totally bogus all of that is. The way that we accept this notion of we're competitive animals, that survival of the fittest, this law of the jungle mentality, even though we were taught, when I was a kid, we were taught by the nuns in catechism, our version of Sunday school, that we weren't animals, that we were above the animals, that we were special. But apparently not so much when it comes to our living in our day-to-day lives. So what we accept as true is this notion that we're living in some kind of a Superman instead of a bizarro world. We're living in a casino world. Everything that we do is tossing our fate to the wind, and that's totally accepted as the norm. No one questions it. Well, there are a few who are beginning to very seriously question that, and they're getting slammed for it, and we'll get into that in a second. But and of all the things the Native Americans could have gotten into, why casinos? Why are they going to? What is their subtle message in that? So yes, if we accept, well, we live in a casino world. It's all about this who can outsmart. If it's a physical game like sports, then you are going to succeed if you are physically fit and have a good speed to your reactions and whatnot. If it's a bean counting numbers game, then having a little more smarts is definitely going to put you in the lead, and that is accepted by society. Presumably we all buy into that from the moment we're born and say, yep, this is fine with me. If he's faster, stronger, whatever, give him more share of the pie, give him a bigger house, give him more fancier cars, whatever. He deserves it. He deserves it because he's better than me, and I deserve to lose because I'm not as strong as he is, or as fit as he is, or whatever. So we accept this no guarantees, kind of a gaming caution to the wind, let's just see where life takes us. But we all know, anybody, and coming from Oregon, where it rained a lot growing up, we played a lot of games, board games, all different kinds of games. So anybody that's played a lot of games and been involved in a lot of games, with the exception now of video games, because you can't, the parameters of the game are set such that it's very difficult, if at all possible, to cheat. Whereas with a lot of the older school games, you could, if you're clever enough, find ways to defeat the rules or get around the rules. And this is, of course, just exactly what's happening in the real world with the really rich and powerful now actually buying our government, so the rule making process, so that they can have the rules set in their favor. But the point I'm trying to make is this is not necessarily always the case. For example, and this is what I took away from Sam Harris of all people, if I were to accept a job and, well, gee, we really like your work, John, and everything, you're doing fine, but we can't really guarantee you a set wage. Maybe this week it'll be $3 an hour, and next week it'll be $15 an hour. We can't really guarantee. Would I take that job? No. If I went to see a physician, I had a particular illness and I needed his help, I would go to him. Do I have any guarantees that he knows what the hell he's doing? Well, yeah, I do. It's called a degree. Now, it may not be the best guarantee, but it does assure me that a certain minimum of education has been met and proficiency has been achieved. So my point is, the things that seem to matter most to us, we actually do want to guarantee. And when we can get a guarantee, we're generally going to buy that product over something that just says, well, yeah, maybe we'll ship that off to you, maybe it'll get lost in the mail. No guarantees. No. And yet, when it comes to caving into the bullies, the financial bullies who have maintained this system. And, again, I wish I had time to get into the arguments of all the people who died in the wars to prevent fascism, which is exactly what is happening right now. And only some of us older folks who really understand what fascism means sees just how dramatically it's happening, and in total lack of respect for the forefathers who gave up their lives to keep us free from that. It just... and the apathy that's out there, again, just it's stunning. But at least when it comes to this, do we have to live in a system where, because when you are in a casino, you know that the game is going to be skewed. They have to pay for their building, their rent, their electricity, their machines, their employees, all this stuff. So you say, okay, well, they got all this shit, so we'll accept that the odds are going to be stacked in their favor, but still, there's that small chance that I might win something, and that is no way, in my opinion, and many others who share this point of view, that's no way to live. That is living your life under the threat of the bully. It's going back to sandbox lessons and learning that at some point you have to stand up to the bully. And they have got us so brainwashed that the only alternatives to living in this casino world, these alternatives, as we've come up with them so far, such as communism and socialism and other ways of trying to divide up the pie in a more fair recognition to everyone who was actually born here and has a vested interest in the property, so to speak, and that means all of us, because we were all born here, unless you're an alien from Alpha Centauri.
Carol! Just where the hell is
are
she?
frowned on, are demonized, you're, commies, and at one point in our recent history, it really turned into a witch hunt kind of thing.
Just where the hell is she?
But now, once again, at least for a period of time until this new surveillance police state really kicks into high gear, we have an opportunity to freely discuss alternatives, and one of those that people who've seen the Zeitgeist films and Thrive and things like that know that this idea of a resource-based economy using tools that were unavailable to the communists, were unavailable to the socialists, as a whole new construct that has never been tried before. But, and as some say, will require the totality of humankind to get on board in order for it to function. Fresco, for example, who came up with the idea of the resource-based economy.
Its language is old. It was designed hundreds of years ago, the British language, or the American language. That means that you can't talk to people. Whenever you talk to people, you think you're talking to people. It goes in their ear and comes out in relation to their background. They don't hear exactly what you say. So when you read the Bible, it's subject to interpretation.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
Somebody says, this is what Jesus meant. Another person, oh no, he meant that. The third person says, you're both wrong. So you have the Lutheran, the Seventh-day Adventist, the Catholic, because it's subject to interpretation.
We don't have that kind of, so we don't have generations of deprogramming to get people to start engaging in critical thought once again and think outside of sound bites and in full, sentences, paragraphs, and chapters, so that they can understand that it does belong to all of us, that the current system is not going to fix its excesses. It's only going to give itself more raises, higher salaries, while the rest of us get poorer and poorer. And one way to do this is to really, really question this notion of life as gambling. It doesn't have to be. The only time it needs to be a gambling situation is when there isn't enough to go around. And the only reason there isn't enough to go around right now is because so much of it is going to so few. It's a self-perpetuating, self-fulfilling cycle that is going to crash. Some of the most prominent economists are all now getting on board with people like Tom Hartman in his book, The Coming Crash of 2016. The Zeitgeist movies, most of us are ready for it. We're just waiting for it to happen. We figure that's probably going to hold out until after elections, but who knows? It could happen tomorrow. So we need to, anyone out there who needs to think, the important thing is, well, how do we fix it? Nobody wants to fix it. I can't do it. What can I do about it? I'm powerless. And the people who have the power ain't gonna. So again, we are stuck in this cycle that does not have to be broken with violence, but with intelligence and planning, and we've got to do it fast. And to do it fast, that means that we are going to need to, at some point, get the military or other agency with the muscle to acquire for us a supercomputer, because we're at the point that we say, okay, stop. We lift the needle off the phonograph. The music stops. We've got to go into every corporation and business and around the globe, literally everyone. The smaller mom and pop ones we can get to later, but initially it's the big the power companies, for example, that are robbing us of our future, blowing through our inheritance as a species, because right now all we have is this earth. And all right, not to get sidetracked, but I already did it. I got sidetracked. We need to be able to. Somebody says, "Well, why don't we just go in and kill them?" I said, "Well, no. One, that puts a stop. It creates chaos, and but a lot of reasons we don't want to go that route. But we do need to stop them. We need to keep every executive from getting into his or her office. We don't need to hurt them. We don't even need to lock them up. We just need to keep them from doing their jobs." Then we have to be able to have, this is like fracking. We can't just stop fracking until we found another way to heat our homes. We're going to be a lot of cold people, or the prices are going to go up because of supply and demand, and that's only going to hurt poor people as well. So before we go in and disrupt the order of things, we've got to have a backup plan. We need to have, when we stop those executives going into their offices, we need to have people of our own ready to go in and say, okay, here's our plan. I understand the plan of how this company and every other company is going to repatriate our resources back to humankind and away from this handful of, I don't know what they are. I really, I don't want to go into some weird tangents, but why would they? Aren't their children going to live on the same planet that ours will? No, probably they won't. And this is the thing with Branson and some of these other people. They will be able to get off this planet and leave us here to rot and go down with the ship. So if we are going to take our future, independent of what we think they can provide us, In other words, we need to get off of our addiction to corporation, to corporatism, and learn to do things for ourselves, to manage our resources for ourselves, to distribute the resources. And it doesn't have to be communism or socialism. Hey, if you want to go and throw your money to the wind and say, well, I'm going to make who's or what's it's, and if nobody wants the who's or what's it's, then yeah, you'll go cry in your beer and commit suicide when you lose everything you ever worked for, and because that's what you chose. That's fine. You want to do that? Go do that. But for the rest of us who would rather think that it isn't the bully who takes all of the lunch monies, but everybody comes to school, everybody gets their lunch, it's all one school, belongs to all of us, it's all one planet, we're all born here, everything on this planet belongs to all of us. And we can, if people are interested in what we're talking about, what I'm talking about here, and I see some discussion going on. There are some other aspects of this that certainly I would like to discuss with faith and physics followers. But that's enough for now. I think I've already. Oh yeah, I'm already way over. Okay, ciao. We still got the central earthquake swarm in Oklahoma. There are no fault lines there. The only fault lines in Oklahoma are much further south and west of Oklahoma City. These earthquakes are all up there right in the middle of those fracking fields. That's still going on. That's crazy. Fukushima is still going on. People don't know that. That's crazy. There is the bizarre earthquake swarm that's been going on for months now up by the in Nevada, up by the Oregon border. Get the USGS earthquake overlay for Google Earth and keep an eye on that. It's just amazing. These are, and the other one, the big earthquake swarm that's been going on where the geothermal power station is in California, north of San Francisco. Bad idea. We're blowing it, man. We are really freaking blowing it. And no, we don't need to kill anybody, but we need to put the brakes on this damn thing fast. And all these people who are sitting out there in apathy, Merry Christmas, because you're killing your kids. Cool. Thanks a lot. Bye.
I am so disgusted with you right now, I just want to vomit.